בשם השם נעשה ונצליח. שיעור תורה, שבוע טוב. We're back, Sunny Isles, Florida, getting back to our shiur, our Jewish hashkafa shiur by the Chazon Ish, Alav Shalom. We have tonight we'll do a shiur for a refuah shlema for Levana bat Sarah, Yosef ben Levana, Yitro ben Avraham, Gilsom bat Rina, Miria ba Lala, Peltiel Simchayev ben Frecha Fenya, David ben Nesriya, Doris bat Jora, Rabbi Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah bat Anat, Dvora bat Mercedes, Elisheva Chaya bat Sarah, Esther bat Tzipora, Batya bat Sarah, and Serach bat Batya. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give them refuah shlema, refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf. So, with the last couple of shurim, or so far we are up to lecture number 5 in the series, Baruch Hashem. The last several shurim, it seems like the Chazon Ish started his famous Emunah v'Bitachon sefer with like a biology lesson about different parts of the body, different mechanics, and it continues into it now. This time we're talking a little bit, last week we talked a little bit about the neshama. This time we're talking about the dam, the blood in a person. As far as the body itself, as we've seen, there is so much wisdom into every single one of the cells that's in your body that it's clear for anyone that actually investigated the human body, his own human body, with a unbiased opinion, meaning looking for the truth rather than looking for the answer that they already have. Because sometimes people have already a predisposition to believe something. They want to believe in atheism. They want to believe in Christianity. They want to believe in whatever they want to believe in. So what ends up happening is that when they look for something, they're not looking for the truth, but rather they're looking for what they already have. So it's like the Christians, when they debate, they all mention the same exact argument. They tell you Isaiah 53, Daniel 9, because these are the few verses in the Torah that are relatively vague that you can manipulate right or left. They're not going to tell you about the chapters before, the chapters after. They're not going to mention 99% of the Torah. And the reason why is because in accordance with their manipulation that's been going strong for 2,000 years plus, they have already drew the target. They have the target, the bullseye, and then they draw the circle around it. You ever play with people? You play the darts. If you play the darts, you have a board, you have a bullseye, and you have all the things around it. And if you throw the darts in there, sometimes you'll hit this, once you hit that, sometimes you hit once in a blue moon, you hit the bullseye. But it's much easier to hit the bullseye if you throw wherever you want. You draw the bullseye over there, and then the whole circle. See, I hit the bullseye. I hit the bullseye. I hit the bullseye. That's what happens when people have a biased opinion. They have a biased opinion. They already have the bullseye. Wherever they hit is the bullseye, and then they draw the targets around it. So, if a person looks at the Torah and actually reads it, just the 5 books of Moses, with basic commentary by Rashi that will explain to you what you're actually reading, so you're not translating it to your likings, you're not translating it literally like you would, because you simply would not understand a simple sentence in the Torah. You would think that the Jewish people are evil people in some aspects of it, or God is an evil God, if you understood things literally. Like, for example, you have a verse in the Torah that says that if you hurt somebody, it's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and so on and so forth. The damage that you cause somebody, if you cause damage to his eye, the payment is an eye. you cause damage to his tooth, the payment is a tooth. But anyone that knows Jewish history, knows a little bit of Torah, knows that in the history of Am Yisrael, no Jew has ever gotten his tooth plucked out because he beat somebody up and he broke his tooth. No Jew has ever lost his eye because he caused some other Jew loss of his eye. So what does it actually mean? It means that it's the value of the eye. It all depends on whose eye you took out. If you hurt somebody's eye intentionally, it depends whose eye it is. If you took an eye out of a person that was an average Joe, that was just a regular person that's, let's say, selling groceries in a store, okay, his eye has a certain value. Okay, we'll call it, let's say, $5,000, just for argument's sake. But if you took out the eye of a spinal surgeon, someone that needs to have the best possible eyes you could have, or else he simply cannot be a surgeon. This guy makes $2-3 million a year because of his eyes, not because of his hands, because today robots do the surgeries. So his eye is obviously worth a lot more than the guy that's selling groceries. He needs his eye. Now that he lost his eye, he cannot be a spinal surgeon anymore. So he lost a lot more. So you have to pay an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and so on and so forth. So when you read things literally, you're not going to understand. You're not going to understand. So you have to read it with basic commentary by the most well-accepted commentary in history, including, by the way, until recent history, by the Christians. At the time of Rashi, 900 years ago, the church came to Rashi and they said, we heard you put commentary on the Torah. We want your commentary. Rashi didn't want to give them the commentary because he knew that as soon as they see the commentary, they're gonna hate us even more, because it disproves their religion. The commentary shows that there's only one God, God can never be replaced, God can never have any partners, and so on and so forth. And it talks about all types of idolatry. It talks about their yoshke, their nonsense. So Rashi didn't want it, but they threatened his life. They said, listen, if you don't give us the commentary, we're simply going to kill everybody in town. In the town of Worms in France. So Rashi's Talmidim said, Kvod Harav, why don't we at least give him some type of commentary on something? On something. And they ended up giving him the commentary. Now the church knew the commentaries I meant, so they wanted to kill him anyway. They killed a lot of people. But the point is, Rabotai, is that the church knew that the commentary by Rashi was emet. Only until recent history did they start changing the argument and start calling their Yoshke Mashiach. Back then they called him God. And if you didn't believe in their God, they killed you. It wasn't like, no, we're Jews too, we're just Messianic Jews. There was none of that garbage existed. This is all recent inventions. Now the point being is that if a normal person that's not biased reads the Torah with no bias whatsoever, they're going to understand the emet, they're going to understand the truth without really much confusion. The problem is that we ourselves feed ourselves a lot of shekel, a lot of lies, which distorts our emet. And we feed ourselves lies in different ways. Sometimes it's because we delve into other philosophies and religions. So we read a little bit of Christianity, and then we go back to our Daf Yomi, shiur. We watch one of these pastors give a shiur on a Sunday, and then we show up to class on Sunday night with the rabbi. So we delve a little bit. It's like you're telling your wife you have a girlfriend. It doesn't work out. Your heart's going to be one place or the other. It can't be with both. So we feed ourselves lies. Sometimes it's not we don't go so far as to watch Christianity, but what do? We watch the news. Watch the news. It's another form of idolatry. Why? Because every day they tell you who's going to die and who's going to live. Like they're in control of it. Every day they tell you, no, 2 million people are going to die. No, 5 million people are going to die. Like they know anything. They're going to decide who's going to die, who's going to live, who's this, who's that. They tell you what you're supposed to think, what you're supposed to have, what you're supposed to dress, how you're supposed to not dress. All types of stuff that's heretical. They put all types of jukim, all types of bugs in your head. And the reality is that a person starts listening to all of these philosophers, and little by little distorts his own mind. You see that a lot of times these heretical types of speakers, especially when they call themselves rabbis, they quote not just the sages, they quote the news. They quote the non-Jewish philosophers, the non-Jewish self-help gurus, the Tony Robbins of the world. That's who they quote. They don't quote, say, Rashi, the Tosfot, Rabbi Akiva. Not so much. And even if they mention Rashi or any of the sages, they just mention their name. They're not going to tell you where. But if they mention Tony Robbins or Zig Ziglar or whoever they want, they're going to tell you exactly where he said it and when he said it. And what he was wearing when he said it. They quote it like they see it with their eyes. It's supposed to be the opposite. In fact, you're not even supposed to quote these people on the same stage as the sages. But the point is, when people watch a lot of news, or they read a lot of secular information, they are putting all types of heretical bugs in their head. So it's very hard for them to see the truth. Very hard for them to, even if you show it to them, very hard for them to absorb it. I spoke to a very big rabbi and recently, and he told me he has a question he wanted my opinion on, and a question that I've been asked, I have no idea how many times, but it's been many times, at least dozens, if not, I don't know, a couple of hundred times even. How come there's rabbis that say that Gehinom is only 12 months, and you're saying that Gehinom is longer? So it's not me saying, Torah says it. You see Gemara, Masechet Rosh Hashanah, Masechet Sanhedrin, and so on and so forth. You look at the Reshit Chochmah, you look at Ramban in Shar HaGmul, countless places talks about how Gehinom could be many years, not a few months. So he says he has somebody that came to him, told him, listen, I have a tzaddik rabbi told me that you're wrong. A tzaddik rabbi told me that you're wrong, that it's really only 12 months, and in fact, it's only getting embarrassed a little bit. There's no punishment over there. So he told me, what should I answer them? I said, I have to tell you what to answer. You're a big rabbi. He said, no, but what do you think? I say, you tell him that this rabbi is a kofer gamur. That's what you tell him. Because, yeah, but I'm concerned, maybe I'm going to insult this rabbi. Maybe the rabbi is a big rabbi. I said, doesn't matter who he is. The Ramban, 850 years ago, called such people kofrim. Is he bigger than the Ramban? He's not bigger than the Ramban. So therefore, when he said what he said, he became a kofer. He said, do you think there's any other way to say it? I said, there's 1.5 million ways to say it, but this is the only way it's going to work. Why? Because people in this generation need leaders. They need to know yes or no. They don't need you to tell them, there's multiple opinions and there's 70 faces to the Torah. They have no idea what that means, 70 faces to the Torah. They think that there's 70 different opinions, that in essence everybody's opinion is true now. They don't understand that when you tell me a Bet Shammai said this and Bet Hillel says this, they're both true, but in reality you have to pick Bet Hillel if that's the halacha. They don't understand that. They think they can pick Bet Shammai if they want. Or Bet Hillel, whoever it was in the halacha. People do not understand on their own what the emet is. So if you give them multiple choices, they don't know what to pick. So in essence, they think, I can just pick whatever I want then, right? And if what I want is not one of these few choices you just gave me, I can just throw it in my hat and say 70, 71, no, same thing. People need leaders. They need people to tell them what to do. Allowed, not allowed. Don't tell me the different opinions and sometimes it's lenient and sometimes it's not. Am I allowed to go or not allowed to go? Am I allowed to eat, not allowed to eat? Just tell me what to do. I don't need you to tell me, there's some Chachamim from 400 years ago that said this. But then if you look at the new ones that said 500 years ago this, and then if you look, they don't understand what you're talking about. You're confusing them. Yes or no, Rabbi? So if you tell this guy anything other than what his rabbi said is 100% wrong, because it is, he's simply not going to understand what you're saying and say, okay, so what you're saying to me is that you just have a different opinion. So I can still hold by this guy that says that if I go to Gehinom, he's going to call me a few names, and then I go meet Moshe Rabbeinu. Right? This guy, you're ugly, you're funny, you're ugly, you have look at your nose, okay, go. Moshe Rabbeinu is waiting for you. Why? Embarrassment, no? Embarrassment. Go to Gehinom, embarrassment, you go, and then you go to Moshe Rabbeinu, no? They embarrassed you a few times. Why? They say, you're fat. Oh, okay, no, fat. Okay, pseudo. I'll be called fat just to go to meet Moshe Rabbeinu. Call me fat all day. Are you stupid too? Call me all day stupid. I'm going to Moshe Rabbeinu. Gan Eden of Moshe Rabbeinu, call me stupid? Instead of Kodaraf, from now on, call me stupid. I'm going to go. You're going to assure me I'm going to Gan Eden with Moshe Rabbeinu? Call me whatever you want. Call me Pikachu. What do I care? I'm going to go to Gan Eden of Moshe Rabbeinu just for a little embarrassment? You have to tell them things black and white. Why? They don't understand any other way. But that's not permanent. That's only in the beginning. Why is it only in the beginning? How come it's easier for you guys that have been coming to my shurim, or the ones that are watching, that have been watching the shurim already for a year, 2 years, 3 years? I say something, even if it hurts, you take it, and this is what it is. But yet the new ones, when some of you guys first came on board, 5,000 questions. How come you don't have 5,000 questions for me? I have a shiur for questions and answers. Every Wednesday, nobody has any questions. You have to make up the questions. You're pulling teeth to get questions. But when you first joined, 5 million questions. How come? I gave you one thing. Rabbi, you have a source for that? Yeah, Shulchan Aruch. You have another one? Yeah, Gemara. Anything else you have? Maybe the Rabbi said it. What? The Gemara, the Shulchan Aruch is not good enough? I don't know. Is there another one? Yeah, it's in the Zohar also. So I don't have Zohar in the house. I don't have Shulchan Aruch. I don't have Gemara. You have another, any other book that says it? How many sources do you want? How come the first 3 are not good? In the beginning, 500 questions, and it's not enough to give you one source. Why? You got to give you the whole source, give you the whole book. But then later on, I can tell you Kafakela is this way, I can tell you Geinom is that way, I can tell you Midah Keneged Midah. Everything I say, Yishtabach Shimo, you got Yishtabach Shimo, no questions. Any questions at the end? Shoot. Vaidom Yaron. Everybody's quiet like Aaron HaKohen. Why? Something changed. What changed? What changed, Rabotai? What changed? You're still the same people, same faces. What happened? What happened, Rabotai, is that before you came to listen to the Emet, you had a lot of shekel that was hurting you. A lot of news, a lot of rap, a lot of hip-hop, a lot of tum'ah, a lot of Christianity, a lot of philosophy, a lot of heresy in you, in your blood, that was distorting your ability to decipher the emet for what it is. It's truly a miracle that you're here listening to the truth and actually staying. Because not many people are doing that right now. Baruch Hashem, many more than there was last year and the year before and so on. But if you look at the numbers, the reality is we still have a lot of work to go. Why? Because many times people feed themselves so much tum'ah, so much impurity, that if you tell them the truth, they simply cannot handle it. You can tell, yeah, but look, I gave you a source. Rashi, you ever heard of Rashi? Every Jew heard of Rashi. Yeah, Rashi said it. Yeah, but maybe there's another opinion. Okay, what do you want? Rambam said it also. Yeah, but not everybody holds by Rambam. No, actually everybody does hold by Rambam. Yeah, but I don't know, my rabbi mentioned somebody else. I don't remember who it was. Oh, what do you want it to be? Who do you want it to be? You want me to give you Pikachu's book? I'm going to show it to you in there. What do you want me to show you? How come it's not enough? It's not enough, not because of the source. It's not enough because of the tum'ah, the impurity. Impurity comes in the form of different things. Sometimes it's the news, sometimes it's music, sometimes it's the people that you're around, sometimes it's the book that you've read, but sometimes it's the food you eat. And that's some of the things that the Chazon Ish talks about. Chazon Ish talks about last week where he says that no matter how much money is going to be invested into the science world, into the world that's going to investigate your eyes and your ears and your arms and your legs and so on, the reality is everyone knows that there's a neshama that's moving all of it. It's a neshama that's moving all of it, and no one knows anything about it. No one knows anything about it. How much money is invested into the neshama? Nothing. Why? No one knows. Where are you going to start? Where are you going to start? You realize everybody knows that there's a neshama. Everybody knows there's a soul. Why? 1 minute he was moving, next minute he wasn't moving. What happened? Oh, he died. What do you mean? What made him die? Did he lose his head? No, head's still there. Did he lose his arms? No, the arms are still there. Everything is there. The body is there. Is he bleeding anywhere? No, he's not bleeding. So how come now he's dead and now before he was alive 5 minutes before? What happened? Everybody understands that a neshama left, the soul left, call it whatever you want, but the soul left the body. Do you understand how does that work? What keeps the soul inside? What is that, like a jail sentence? It says, no, you stay here a certain amount of time. You have a little thing that you bought from Best Buy. You connected it to your body that as long as you have it on, this button is plugged in, the neshama doesn't come out. By accident, somebody pulled out the button and the air came out. How did the soul leave? Who decided this? So Chazon Ish talks about how this soul is extraordinary. Now he talks about something else. He says, ואומנם הרבה ממרהיבי עין ומפליאי לב בגוף האדם איבריו ופרקיו להחזיק את רוח החיים בגוף הגשם, תוכנית הבשר והעצמות ומרוצת אדם בכל אורכיו ומהווים את החיים, והאדם הוא הנפש החיה באדם. He says, in truth, there are many enthralling and wondrous parts in the person's body, the limbs, the joints, the accommodation of the spirit of life within a material body, the makeup of flesh and bone, the circulation of blood and the arteries that enables life, and blood itself, which is the life of man. So here he's telling you, out of all of these different wondrous parts of the body, he's highlighting that the blood, in essence, is the one thing you cannot live without. You could live without an arm, chas v'shalom, but in reality you could live without an arm. You could live without a leg. In fact, you could even live without one lung. You don't need both lungs. You could live without one kidney. You have two, you can live with one. Many people do, they donate it. You could even live with parts of your heart missing, chas v'shalom. You can. You can live with one eye. You could even live without two eyes. Said blood, though, on the other hand, this you can't live without. Can't live without. Why? The blood is the life of man. Blood, Rabotai, is in itself a miraculous creation, whereas I've told you many times, if a person just looks at the science behind blood, easily you become a person that believes in God. Whether you believe in Judaism or not depends on how much further you study it. But just a little bit of facts about blood. There are three parts to the blood. There's the plasma, the white cells, the red cells. Now, the plasma is really see-through. And the red blood cells, the white blood cells are the ones that in essence fight disease and so on. But the red blood cells are the ones that transfer oxygen. Now, interestingly enough, there are certain things that are transferred by these red blood cells, but someone told this blood to be very careful with certain things that it transfers. Aside from this oxygen, that you need as much of it as possible, and you produce more or less in different times of the day depending on what activity you're doing. There's also different things that are in your body that need to be transferred. For example, iron. When you transfer iron in your body, someone told the blood to be very careful with this. Why? Don't connect too close to it. Because if the iron connects and glues itself too much to the actual oxygen, it'll hurt your breathing. Now, when you look at blood with the naked eye, you can't see any of this. You can't tell any of this stuff. But the scientists have investigated this under the telescopes, and they see this. Someone has given this blood a brain that it uses for this time, for that at different times. Now, the lifetime of your blood, according to scientists, is 4 months. 4 months, it goes through your body. How many times is it going to go through your body? This certain blood cell is going to go through your body before it dies. It goes to the bone marrow and it dies over there. How many times is it going to go through your body? 75,000 times. Now I don't know if they put one of these Go cameras on it to see if it goes 75,000 times or not, but surely enough, that's the estimate that they're saying. It goes through your body 75,000 times. Either way, it's a very big number. That this cell goes through your body non-stop 75,000 times before it dies, 4 months later. Now, every second, there are 3 million cells, 3 million red blood cells in your body that die. Every second. Now, this sounds scary. Good news is, same thing. Every second, 3 million cells are replaced, are born. Why? To make sure that you stay alive. Now, but there are some times that you produce more than 3 million cells. When you're active. So when a person, for example, exercises, immediately when the person exercises, his body can produce anywhere from 8 to 12 times more red blood cells. Why? Because he needs more oxygen. Because he's exercising, he needs more oxygen. So where do you think this oxygen is going to come? I was like, oh no, I'm going outside for fresh air. It's not outside for fresh air. It's not outside for fresh air. It's the blood. You need more blood. Your body, your brain tells your body, hey, guys, let's go. Get on it. No, we'll slow down. We only want 3. We're relaxing. No, we're relaxing. This guy decided to go for a run, this crazy guy. Decided to go for a run. We're not really sure. Why don't you just sit down, read a book? But he decided to run. Okay, so what does that mean to us? Oh, you got to produce more. How many? Each one of you has to give birth to 3. Let's go. Like Mitzrayim. Every birth is 6. You got to produce more red blood cells. Why? This guy's running. So when a person exercises, Rabotai, he produces a lot more blood because the body needs a lot more oxygen. Now, when you think about it, people invest their whole life just to be a little faster, be a little better, show off a little more. When you think about it, you look at the road today, it's not like it was 30, 40 years ago where there's such a huge difference between the cars on the road. 30, 40 years ago, if you said Ford, people would say you think you're cursing them. You know why? Because Ford is an American car, people think it's garbage. If you said something from Japan, it's like, oh yeah, that has to be really good. Or you said something it's from Germany, oh, that must be the best. Today, in reality, there's not much of a difference. Why? The consumer is too picky in order to allow any garbage manufacturer to stay in business. Bottom line is, if you're not coming out with good goods, good quality goods, you're going out of business. So today on the road, there's not really that much of a difference between the cars. Not that I'm a big car scholar or anything. I don't really know anything about cars, but I know about business. In reality, there's not much of a difference between the cars today. But if you talked about 30, 40 years ago, if you said somebody had an Oldsmobile, it's like, oh wow, poor guy, he's skinned. Poor guy, wow. I'll pray for you. Mercury, oh Shem Yilachem, you might as well have cancer. How many times do you have to change the engine on this one? The transmission goes out every week. But today you say Mercury, you say any name. Oh, okay, yeah, some people like that, What's the difference? The little garbage can that surrounds them. The little pieces of metal that surrounds them. Really, that's the main difference between them. It's not that much of a difference. Except if you go into the extremely higher end cars, where it's faster. It goes from 0 to 60. Instead of going from 0 to 60 in, let's say, 5 seconds, it goes there in 4 seconds. Or in 4.2 seconds. Or if you really, really want it, 3.9. And you're a plane. How much more are you going to pay for that? $100, $200, $300,000 more. For what? To get from 0 to 60 an extra second faster. That's what you're paying for. In reality, why? It's the same piece of metal, same garbage can. Same thing that's eventually going to be turned into a garbage can eventually. They're going to recycle this. What do you think they're going to keep this forever? They're going to recycle. They make it into garbage cans. What'd you pay all that extra? Now, instead of $30,000, $40,000 car, You paid 150,000, 200,000, 300,000, some of these crazy cars. Why? Because this car could potentially go from 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds instead of yours. Yours is really slow. It's 5 seconds. It takes a year. What a year? Extra second, another $200,000. Is it really for the extra second? Is anyone really using this? Is anyone really going 0 to 60 anywhere? Where are you going in 60? Where are you going in 5 seconds? Where are you going in 5 seconds? If you go that fast anyway, you get arrested, go to jail. Where are you going? Where are you going with this speed? Nowhere. Where's it for? Show off. Show off. That's all it's for. Shafuni Anas, look at me. Look at me. You want people to look at you. In Shamayim, they're looking at you. Whether you're driving the Oldsmobile or you're driving the Bentley, they're looking at you. They're looking at you and they're counting, okay, so he spent $150,000 on the car. How much did he spend on Kiruv? How much did he spend on Torah? How much did he spend on Mezuzot? How much did he spend on his tefillin? How much did he spend on helping the poor? How much? But we spend a lot of money and a lot of things. Why? We want people to look at us. Now, your blood doesn't have this foolishness in it. It goes fast when it needs to go fast, and it goes slow when it needs to go slow. Without you paying for it, an extra $100,000. You get up in the morning, you want to do a few push-ups. Blood goes, whoa, wow, let's go, this guy's crazy. This guy went from sleeping to now he wants to produce enough cells to build a civilization. Then he decides, no, you know what, I'm kind of tired, go back to sleep. Ah, okay, blood's okay, yeah, we're going to sleep too. We're going to sleep too. He was dreaming. Thought he was like the Incredible Hulk for a second. The blood doesn't have to have any extra payment, a raise, a promotion. It works fast, it works slow. Who told it? Who told it to do this? Did you ever see a blood cell with glasses on maybe as a... No. So you see, Rabotai, when you think about the blood, the mechanics of the blood, aside from the humor that I'm adding to it, is pure genius. It's unbelievable how much wisdom Hashem put in simply into the blood itself. Now, the Sfarim HaKadoshim say that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world in the Midrash Kohelet Rabbah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, and then he created man on the 6th day. And he took man and showed him each part of the creation. He said, look, see, this is the apple tree. This is the orange tree. This is strawberries. This is this is that. He showed him every part of creation. This is the mountains, this is the hills, the valley, all the different things. And he said to men, look at how beautiful my creation is and full of wisdom. Be sure not to ruin it. He tells Adam HaRishon, a perfect human being, look how beautiful my creation is. All of these different things, all the little cells in your body, all the little biology class that you have inside your eyes and your brain and your feet and your arms and so on and so forth, and all of the same things to other, in different aspects of creation. Because if you look at each and one of the creations, whether it's the plant or it's the rock or it's the fish or it's the mosquito, you'll see that there's an endless amount of wisdom in each one of the creations. You'll see how much we need each one of the creations. That there's not a single creation that exists in the world today if the world doesn't need it. So how do you explain animals that go extinct? Simple. The world doesn't need it anymore. Hashem decides this animal is of no use anymore. Now there is an animal, for example, in the Torah. It's a very, very important animal. Tachash. The Tachash was the most beautiful animal in creation. His skin was a rainbow color. It was something out of this world. And it was a combination, it looked like a deer. And it was a beautiful, beautiful animal. And they used its skin for the Mishkan, the Bet HaMikdash of the desert. Now, this animal was something out of this world beautiful. Anyone here see a tachash? In any zoo? The Bronx Zoo, the Florida Zoo, any zoo? No, right. Why? We don't need it anymore. We don't have a Bet HaMikdash. But when Mashiach comes, there's a very good chance you're going to see a few tachashim running around. Maybe it's going to be a pet. Why? We may need them. But because we don't need them, this animal that's listed in the Torah, it's mentioned in the Torah. There's not that many animals that are mentioned in the Torah by name. Oh, this one had like a key role in Bet HaMikdash and so on. But this one had. And it's no longer in the world. Why? We don't need it. The shamir worm. Shamir worm is one of the most important tools we had at the time of the Bet HaMikdash. If we didn't have it, we wouldn't be able to build the Bet HaMikdash. Why? Need to cut the stones. And this specific animal gave off radiation. You were able to cut stones with it. Because you weren't allowed to use metal to cut the stones of the Bet HaMikdash. Because metal is something for war. Now, reality is you're not going to see any of these things over here. You can see something similar that was found recently in Asia, but you're not going to see the same thing. Why? We don't need it. Same thing with all of these animals that go extinct. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says we don't need it. Which means what? All the ones that do exist, there is a need for it in the world. David HaMelech one time questioned this. Not because Chas v'Shalom he questioned God, but he questioned, why did Hashem create spiders? Why did he create the wasps? And why did he create drunk people? What's the use of these things? Not that he has questions for Hashem, he's just curious. Hashem, why is there wasps? For what? What good do they do? It's not like they're like the bees, they deliver honey. No, nothing. They just give you a nice chapcha and you're paid for the next 2 days. They don't like you, they don't like your smile. They want to give you a frown instead. You see a wasp, you go the other way. Even though it's this big and you're this big, you go the other way, you see a wasp. For what, David HaMelech says? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, in your life, you're going to see why you need them. So one of the times, David HaMelech was constantly chased by Shaul HaMelech. Shaul had ruach shtut. Had some crazy thought in his head. He thought that David, Kodesh Kodeshim, was his enemy. Was trying to steal the kinghood. So David was constantly trying to prove Shaul that he's not trying to kill him. So one of the times that he was hiding from Shaul, Shaul parked in the camp and they all went to sleep. David saw that they're all sleeping and he came into the camp by himself. And he went right to Shaul and he saw that his tzitzit, he took his tzitzit and he cut the corner. Cut the corner to show Shaul from the hill after he woke everybody up, say, look, I could have killed you. I was right in front of you. My sword was right next to you. Could have killed you. Obviously, I'm not your enemy. But what happened? Shaul's sergeant was sleeping right next to him. It's a monster of a person. Huge. Huge person. And this person was so big that when he moved, his thigh, it went on top of David. It went on top of him. David couldn't move. It wasn't like, something when you're a little kid, or, you sleep, let's say, a couple people in one bed, your brother's leg is on you, or on your head, and your face, you move it around, and then, no, it wasn't like that. This is like an elephant went on top of you. David HaMelech says, I'm dead. I'm going to die here. Why? There's no way for me to move. It's not like if he uses all of his power, there's no way he's going to move. He starts praying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, crying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Number one, so this guy moves. Number two, he doesn't wake up. There's a human under his leg. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends what? The wasp. The wasp goes to this person. I think his name was Abraham. He stings him. Now a wasp stings us, we start crying for 3 days straight. Like we're mourning. He's so big and so powerful, all it does, it's like a little mosquito. He just moves his leg. And David HaMelech is freed. David HaMelech says, Ishtabach Shimo La'ad. Look at this wasp, it just saved my life. Another time, David HaMelech was running away from Shaul. Shaul was chasing him. David went and hid inside a cave. But Shaul and his army were following him. And they were going to catch him. They're going to check every cave. But then after David went inside the cave, Hashem miraculously sent a spider that made a web that covered the entire front of the cave. So when Shaul got there, he's like, there's no way that David is in here. because this web must have taken years to build. So he told all of his army, go, I'm going to go to the bathroom. He's going to go to the bathroom in the cave. And he went to the bathroom in the cave. And David is right behind him. He doesn't see him. David HaMelech says, Ishtabach Shimon Ad, now I know why you created the spider. Saved my life, the spider. Because if it wasn't for that, they would have checked the cave and would have caught David. Now what about drunk people? One time, David took a stroll at night, and the Philistines, not the Palestinian terrorists of today, the Philistines were the nation with the Goliath, which is a story of its own, by the way. Goliath, by the way, is related to David. If you guys don't know that, they're related. You guys don't know? I'll tell you in a second after this story. Now, Goliath had a brother, also wanted to kill David, especially after he killed Goliath. Now, these Philistines, they saw that David is strolling at night by himself. They caught him. So you know that if he gets to the king and he's identified as David, he's going to kill him on the spot. No jail sentence in those days. Not like today, they catch somebody, put him in jail for 30 years. No, they kill him on the spot. So what did David do? He pretended like he was crazy. Now what happened that day? That same day, that Hashem miraculously made that king's wife and his daughter both go crazy. So that's why there's a Tehillim that you read in prayer where it says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved David. Saved David. Why he saved David? He saved from these Reshaim. Why? He says, don't I have enough crazy people? You're bringing me this person. You think this is David HaMelech? This is the crazy drunk. He was so fed up of crazy people because of what happened to his wife and daughter, he thought it's just another crazy person. This can't be David HaMelech. This guy's a crazy person, he's a drunk. And David HaMelech says, Ishtabach Shimon, now I know why HaKadosh Baruch Hu made drunk people. So every single one of our things in creation has a reason for it. And by the way, as a side note, why David is somewhat related to Goliath is because there used to be two sisters. And these two sisters, very, very close. And they worked for the same lady, Tzadikah. Now what happened? Naomi, she was a Tzadikah, and she came from a good house. Problem is, her husband died and her kids died. And her kids were married to these two girls. Now, after they died, she told them, listen, my kids have died. I don't have any other kids. I'm old already. You guys go your way. So one of them said, you know what? I like you. You're a good woman, but you're right. I'm going to go my way. But the other one says, no, I'm not going anywhere. No, go. She said, go away. Go. I don't have anybody for you. I'm not going anywhere. Why are you not going? Your God's my God. Well, your God's my God. You came from Moab. Well, you don't have a God. No, your God's my God. Your people are my people. I'm going to die for you. Her name was Ruth. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says you're going to die for her. You want to die for her? You want to die for Am Yisrael? You want to be part of Am Yisrael? Mashiach is going to come from you. Your grandson, David HaMelech. And you're going to see him. Ruth ended up seeing not only David HaMelech, her great-grandson, she ended up sitting right next to Shlomo HaMelech. She lived hundreds of years. Her best friend, her sister, what'd she do? She left. Where she was? Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah says she had sex with 100 people at once. We don't know who the father is. But from that came Goliath. Turned to a dog, this woman. Worse. Sister. One you have David HaMelech, Kodesh Kodashim, Mashiach comes from him. One is Arur, Goliath. Sisters. That's the difference of one decision. One decision. Go to the shiur, don't go to the shiur. Difference. That's it. It's not like, oh, listen, I'm going to become a gangster. No. She's just, listen, I'm making a decision. You're going with the Rabbanit. Okay, I'm going to find something else. Find something else. You live Da'at Torah. You leave the tzaddikim. Your life's on the line. She ended up becoming the worst of the worst. Now, Rabotai Yekarim, the Chazon Ish tells us that your entire life is in the blood. And we have in the book of Deuteronomy in Parashat Re'eh that the Chazon Ish here quotes Adam u nefesh, that the blood, that is the in essence, that's the soul, a significant part of the soul. And he continues here and he says that even after man was created, his existence is still not ensured, for his life is dependent on a regular supply of food to renew his body's blood. The Creator provided grains, wine, and oil, other plants, and countless types of fruit trees, each of them incorporating different qualities that can provide nourishment to man, heal his body, nurture him, and enable him to live on this earth. Mankind has already managed to study the great wisdom in the structure of every plant of every kind, all of which bear witness to their Creator and to His endless wisdom. So he says anybody that studies even a simple plant will see evidence of the Creator. But yet you have many people that have not studied the wisdom of the plants. In fact, they have not even studied the wisdom of their own blood, yet they say there's no Creator. How so? Something went wrong. Now, what is wrong? Why is somebody that has the same brain just like you, or it looks like it from the outside, after you pop the head open, brain comes out, looks the same. Doesn't matter whether you're black, white, green, burgundy, there's no, your brain looks the same. Inside, Rabotai, we all bleed red. Don't make a difference what your race is. Don't make a difference what your nationality is. Don't make a difference if you're Ashkenazi or Sephardi. Don't make a difference. Even though somebody's going to tell you if you're Ashkenazi, you're probably, your blood's white because you guys are cold. No. It's red, I promise you. I promise you it's red. I promise you it's red. And if you're a Sephardi, your blood must be spicy because you eat so much. No, I promise you it's red. It's probably spicy, it's red, but it's all Sephardic food is red somehow. But it's red. Everybody's blood is red. And if he's black, maybe it's Kool-Aid. No. I promise you, it's red. It's the same thing. Everybody, I'm telling you, it's red. And if it's Chinese, it tastes like Chinese food. No, it's red. It's the same thing. You can make fun of everybody and it's yourself at the same time. Why? You're all the same. So how come his brain, your brain, everybody's brain, my brain, all look the same? But one guy believes when you tell him the emet, and the other guy doesn't believe. One girl, you tell her you have to be modest, she puts a kisui rosh on. But you're single. Yeah, but I want to be like the Rambam says. The Rambam says you're 6 years old, you already put kisui rosh on. Don't have to wait till you're married. I want to be on Bala Tshuva 6 months, already put a kisui rosh on Ishtabach Shimo. She says to me today, listen, there's a few people making fun of me. What should I do? I said, block them from your life. Oh, well, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of it? I said, so you're trying to be a tzadikah, they still want you to be a reshait. No, but they said, because I'm single. I said, do you like the kisur rosh? She goes, I love it. It's what connects me to Hashem. I said, so why would you take it off? She goes, exactly, but I was looking. Thank you. That's the answer I needed. You don't have to because you're single, because the halacha is you don't have to until you're married. But if you like it, ashrech. Wow. The Rambam is celebrating your name in Shamayim. He says, look at this tzadikah. You don't have to, but you're doing it. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. So how come this tzadikah puts a kisur rosh on without even getting married? She's doing even more than halacha. Chasidut. Midat chasidut. And then the other one can't even put a shirt on. How come? She has a brain, she has a brain. One guy, you tell him, learn. He starts learning, he's like, Rabbi, I didn't learn that much today, only 8 hours. Only 8 hours today. Another guy, Rabbi, it's too much, 15 minutes a day. Can I just do it every couple of days, 15 minutes? How come? I'll tell you guys. You see, we have a neshama. Now, the neshama is spiritual. It's not something physical. It's not something that's tangible, that you could hold it in your hand, that you could see it with your eyes. And then we have the body. the clothing, if you will, for this neshama. Now, we know that the neshama continues to stay inside the body thanks to the food that the body eats. The philosophers were confused at this. Why were they confused? They were confused because they understood there has to be a neshama, there has to be a soul, there has to be a spirituality to the body, because everyone knows 1 minute he's alive, another minute he's dead, but nothing changed. The body's still complete, but 1 minute he's alive, 1 minute he's dead. So they understood that something changed, and it's not something you could see with your eyes. So everyone agrees that there has to be some type of soul, even if they can't explain how it exists and why it stays in and why it doesn't exist. But they also understood that this neshama must have food, physical food, in order to stay in the body. How do you know? Go ahead, try stop eating for a few days. See what happens to that neshama. Neshama will leave. Why? You die. So you have to eat. But that doesn't make any sense to the philosophers. Why? How could something spiritual live off of something physical? You're not going to go see some neshamot, some ruchot, some demons eating an apple in the middle of the street. If they're completely spiritual, they're spiritual, they don't eat. The angels don't eat. The demons don't eat. Actually, there is a demon that's half man, half... It's a different story. But anyway, Rabotai, the reality is if something is completely spiritual, it doesn't eat. It doesn't consume anything. It doesn't have a diet. It doesn't go on a, Atkins. Only eats no carbs. Nothing like that. But how is it that the most spiritual thing we have, our own neshama, needs something physical? The philosophers were confused. Then comes Rabotai Karim, the Kabbalah. And the Kabbalah tells us the secret. What's the secret? The secret is, Rabotai Karim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put a spark of spirituality in everything. There's a little bit of spirituality, there's a small little nefesh, there's a small little neshama, if you will, in everything. And that's what the body is eating, the physical, but the neshama is getting life from that physical, but from the spiritual aspect of that physical. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu put something spiritual into everything, and there's a few places that is discussed. In the Torah, a few weeks ago, we read Parashat Shmini. In Parashat Shmini, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us, don't eat certain food because it's not kosher, and it'll make you impure. Now, when you think about it, what does that even mean? He's got 4 legs, he's got 4 legs. He's got fins, he's got fins. Why is this one pure? Why is that one impure? How does my body know that? In the end, whether you eat monkey or you eat a cow, they're both going to turn to blood. Whether you eat a lion or you eat a lamb, they're both going to turn into blood. In fact, whether you eat a kosher cow or a non-kosher cow, it's still going to turn to blood. So how come the kosher animal is going to make me pure, but the non-kosher impure, even if it's the same exact animal? You got 2 cows. One Mustafa slaughtered it, one Rabbi Akiva slaughtered it. How come Mustafa, his cow, if I eat it, I become tameh? But if Rabbi Akiva slaughtered it, I become ta'or. I'm good. I stay pure. Same cow. So now, Kabbalah explains to us that the different animals that HaKadosh Baruch Hu permitted us to eat is very different animals than the animals that we're not allowed to eat. How are they different? Their nature, their midot. If you notice, the animals that we're allowed to eat, the cow, the lamb, the deer, these are what? They're not only vegetarian animals, but they're very gentle animals. They're very gentle-mannered animals. They're not aggressive animals by their nature. They're not aggressive animals. They're not looking to go kill people. They don't go hunting anyone. They just sit there and chew. The animals that we're not allowed to eat, on the other hand, are very aggressive animals. The lion is a predator. But what about the mouse? The Gemara says the mouse is a evil animal. Why is a mouse an evil animal? It kind of looks cute on TV. Except if it's in your house, then it's not cute at all. But if it's on TV, it looks cute. You know, small little thing. How come? On the screen, it's cute. How come Gemara says it's evil? Because it has a destructive nature. It just goes and destroys stuff. Goes into your closet, starts eating your clothes. Starts eating all types of stuff for no reason. Doesn't even benefit out of it. Just destroy stuff. Torah doesn't like destructive personalities. Why? Bal tashchit. You're not allowed to be destructive. There's a mitzvah in the Torah, you're not allowed to be wasteful. Just destroy stuff. Somebody gives you a sandwich, take a bite, no, I don't like it, and throw it out. It's not good. Not good nature. Being wasteful. Why are you being wasteful? If it's good, if it's this, you have to find. You don't like it, okay, give it to somebody that does like it. Don't just throw stuff out. A lot of people make these big weddings or big parties. They order enough food to feed a civilization. At the end of the night, there's $5,000-$10,000 worth of food still staying on the table that nobody ate. All that stuff goes in the garbage. There's people that can't even eat. They can't eat. Instead of making sure that every one of these halls, every one of these parties has somebody designated with one roll for the whole night. What? Wait for the end of the night and come collect all the good food and go give it to some shelter. Go give it to some homeless people. Go give it to some poor people. You know how many people you can feed with just the wedding parties and the bar mitzvahs that they have? Some of these places, some of these people have these parties. They literally spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on these parties. You think people are eating all this food? When people show up to these parties, they're so big and so glamorous, no one wants to eat all the food. They just want to take one bite of every little thing because there's 87 different dishes. 87 different types of meat, 87 different types of chicken, 87 different types of salads, 87 types of cakes and this and that. By the time if you eat a little bite of every little thing, you gain 25 pounds. You know how much food is wasted? They throw it in the garbage. That's a sin. Bal tashchit. You have to designate somebody to go collect all that food and go give it to a bunch of people that need it. Yeah, but I'm going to find them. That's the mitzvah. Go find them. Go find them. Don't be wasteful. Gemara talks very harshly about people that are wasteful. Kadosh Baruch Hu says you're wasteful, I'll just end up taking everything from you. You end up losing money because of it. So be very, very careful with being wasteful. I'll tell you a side story. I have no idea why I'm telling you this story, but it's in my head, so I have to say it. Rav Spadron, Alav Shalom, says anytime he would give lectures, Rav Spadron is one of the Gdolei Ador in the previous generation. He was not only a Kiruv rabbi, but he was a huge, giant Chacham, Talmid Chacham, he was a Gadol. He says when he came give shurim, sometimes he would have a story in his head, he'd have to say it. He says, why? Hashem put this in my head for me to say it, not for me to just think, oh, why the story? The story has nothing to do with the lecture, but Hashem put it in my head, it has to do with the lecture. Why? Somebody has to hear it. So apparently the story that I have in my head, somebody has to hear it. One time, I was in New York, and I went to see Rav Mizrahi. And I think we did a shiur together, or I went to visit him, something like that. A few years ago, maybe 2 years ago. Anyway, after he finished the shiur, we went out to eat together. Now, the only place in the world that has food at 1:30 in the morning is New York, by the way. So you don't have to ask where it is. New York. So we went out, and there's a sushi place. So me, Rabbi Mizrahi, and I, and another guy went out to some sushi place at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And so we're sitting there, and I'm not exactly a big sushi eater. I'm not a big fan of fish to begin with. But aside from that, I just, whatever, wasn't that hungry. Whatever, I ordered, I don't know, a roll or whatever they're called. And everybody ordered whatever they ordered. So I ate, I don't know, half my roll. Half the, I don't know, it's called a roll, right? Called a roll. So I ate half the thing. I don't know, there's, let's say, 6 of them, 6 little thingies. I ate half of it. I wasn't that hungry. So, we're talking, and Rabbi Zach is looking at me, and, we're talking, and he's saying this and this, and he's looking at me. Yeah, he goes, no, eat. I said, I ate, I'm full. He goes, no, bal tashchit. I had the shock of my life. I said, I didn't mean to, I'm just not hungry. He goes, okay, give me. No. So him and the other guy had it. But he's right, you're not allowed to be wasteful. Not allowed to be wasteful. You have to be very careful not to be wasteful. Why? It's mitzvah in the Torah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you parnasah, don't waste it for no reason. The mouse that started us in this whole little roller coaster is a very wasteful being. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a rasha. He's wicked. Wickedness. But anyway, so these animals, Rabotai Karim, these animals have bad nature. And when a person eats this bad-natured animals, those bad-natured animals turn into his blood, turn into him, turn into her. Which means what? They become bad-natured. You eat the pork sandwich, guess what? You are going to acquire the worst possible character traits known to man, because the pig has the worst nature of all. It's literally such an impure animal that a Jew is not even allowed to raise a pig to sell to the goyim. Now, you're allowed to have a zoo and have a lion in it if you want. You're allowed, even if you're a Jew. You're allowed, if you want to have a pet store and sell mice, go ahead, have a good time. It's not exactly, I don't know if it's very lucrative or not. I guess maybe because your product is free, you get it from the street or the subways. But the point is that but if you have a farm, you're not allowed to have a pig. Why? It's such an impure animal. Not allowed to raise a pig. Now, the pig, Rabotai Karim, is such a disgusting animal. It literally eats everything. Literally. Diapers, with stuff in them, animals, people, anything you throw at it, it eats. It bathes in manure, it bathes in filth, and it's such an impure animal, it doesn't sweat. Now, the way we, and pretty much almost all animals, excrete the poison from our body, one of the ways is sweat. A lot of the poison you have in your body exits your body through sweat. That's why, for example, if you have some type of virus or something like that, and you have a high temperature, eventually you're waiting for the temperature to break. What does it mean, temperature to break? You start sweating profusely. Why? Because that means that stuff is leaving, the poison is leaving your body finally. If you're not sweating, it's very dangerous. The pig does not sweat. Now this means that all of the poison that it eats, all of the disgusting germs, the bacteria, the filth that it eats never exits its body. Now what does that mean? That means that his skin is so poisonous that even if a cobra, a snake, the most poisonous snake, the cobra, bites the pig, nothing happens to the pig. In fact, they throw snakes into the pits of the pigs because the snakes can't do anything to them, so they eat them. Could be the biggest, most poisonous snake in the world, can't do nothing to the pig. Now, what part of the pig do people love eating? The skin. The most poisonous part. This is why, and I've seen this with my own eyes, if you take a piece of pig steak and you take regular cow steak and you buy them from the best butcher in town, wherever you have, you take both of them, you pour Coca-Cola on them. Within a matter of literally moments, you're going to see maggots come out of the pig steak. Always, even if it was just slaughtered 5 seconds ago, that'll make a difference. There are always, by default, always maggots inside its skin. That's how poisonous it is. And people eating this, bacon, egg, and cheese, yummy, 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 and then they wonder why they have cancer. In fact, Rabotai, I saw an expert chef say it in his own words. Even if the pig has cancer, they still sell it. With the cancer. So the whole thing is poisonous. With cancer, without cancer, the whole thing's poisonous. Doesn't make a difference. And people are wondering why there's such high cancer rate. Now, aside from that, the pig is a very vicious animal. Very bad-natured animal. And people that eat much of it have that same nature. When it comes to cleanliness, when it comes to just their behavior overall, their vicious mentality, and so on and so forth. You'd noticed that some of the most vicious nations throughout history loved it as a food. The Russian communists love pig. Just as a side note, they love pig. And that's why their mentality is very, very different than rather many of the other nations. So, because the pig turns to blood, and the cow turns to blood, and this one, everything turns to blood, it turns into the person, and in essence, that turns into the person literally. The nature of that animal is starting to affect the person itself, which is the reason why when a person starts doing tshuva, and they start eating kosher, within a relatively short period of time, you start seeing that the person's nature starts changing. It's not because he's become so studious and he read 5 books. Although those books are really good and they may have helped him, that's not the main thing that has changed him that much. Even if the books helped his character traits to realize that anger is not good, how come his face looks softer? How come his eyes look softer? How come he just looks softer? He used to look like he's about to kill you just by looking at you. Now he looks like Saba Geppetto, looks like a nice little guy. Wow, what happened? Yesterday you look like you were killing people for a living. Today you look like you're giving people bachot. What happened? The blood is different. The blood is different. It's had enough time to let all of the impure blood leave and be replaced by kosher blood. And the animals that you eat are much, much softer. Much softer, and thereby they have an impact on the person. Now, the beautiful thing is that the blood of a person affecting him, and this is not just from the animals that he eats. It's also from other things that he eats, including vegetables, including fruits, including all other things. Why? Because now we know it's not just the behavior of the animals that we're consuming, but we're also consuming that spark, that spiritual spark too. Where did that spark come from? Now, of course, the source of all of these sparks is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But where was it before? Where was it before it was inside this carrot, this fruit, this apple, this thing? Where was it? Hashem didn't just put it for the first time in this fruit. It was before. So, when we first got the Zohar Kadosh has several parts to it. One part is the Midrash, different behind-the-scenes stories. of what happened here and what happened there. Another part is different halachot, different laws, and so on and so forth. But another part is called the Kabbalah, which a lot of people pretend to study. Now, for many years, we did not understand what is being said, but the person that brought light to the Zohar and to the Kabbalah specifically is the Arizal. The Arizal HaKadosh told us that this spark that these animals have is also to be found in every other creation, including the vegetables, including the fruits. Everything that you see in the world has to have some type of spark. Now, that spark is sometimes coming from a fruit or a vegetable that you're eating, but it wasn't always there. Before that, it was in a human being that sinned and got punished to go down in level, to become a fruit, to become a vegetable, to become something else. The Arizal writes in his Sefer Shar Gilgulim that the spark that a person has he's consuming could be coming from other places. Now, why would HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in His mercy, put the spark, put the neshama of a person inside a cucumber, inside an orange? Why? It says because this is part of the tikkun of that neshama that sinned, and it needs to endure a certain amount of suffering as an orange, as an apple, as a whatever fruit. And aside from the suffering, it has to have a certain rectification. What is the rectification? The suffering is simply the fact that it's a human inside an apple. That's clearly suffering. But what's the rectification? The rectification is if somebody consumes it by saying a bracha, saying a blessing before they eat. If they consume it without saying a blessing, it has to come back again. So Rabbi Yehuda Ftaya alav shalom in Minchat Yehuda says that a woman came to a rabbi, I believe it was him, and told him, Rabbi, I had a dream where somebody came to me. I didn't know this person. I don't know who he is, but this person said, thank you very much for making a blessing on the cucumber that you ate today. I just wish you would have made the right blessing. And then he left. So she said to Rabbi, what is this dream? What does this dream mean? So the rabbi says, did you buy cucumbers yesterday? He said, yes. He said, did you eat a cucumber yesterday? She said, yes. He says, did you do a blessing on the cucumber? She said, yes. He said, what kind of blessing? He said, I said, Borei Pri Ha'etz. He's like, that's what he's talking about. A cucumber is not from the etz, it's not from the tree. Cucumber from the ground. She goes, what do you mean? There was somebody inside my cucumber? She goes, yeah, it was a neshama that was a sinner in the previous generation that was waiting for somebody to eat it by a blessing. Now you did half the battle. You bought it, you ate it, you did a blessing, but you just did the wrong blessing. So it's like a partial tikkun. So he's thanking you because you elevated his neshama and got him out of the situation that he was in, but you didn't get him to where he could have been had you done the right blessing. Now, the issues of neshamot is not something we're going to go into right now, but the point is, Rabotai, is that the Arizal goes deep into it. I don't recommend this book to anyone other than serious Talmidei Chachamim. And don't think that I know this book myself. I'm just quoting a few little things. This book has no beginning and no end. It's unbelievable how deep. It's higher than our pay grade. But I can tell you certain things that are said here. If the Arizal came to any shul today and said the things that he has in his book in the shul, they throw him out. Many times when they go against Rav Mizrahi, for example, Shichyeh, what do they say? Oh, he said that autistic kids, they're a reincarnation of people that sinned. Oh, he says that blind people are their reincarnation of people that sin. It's not Rav Mizrahi saying this. It's the Torah saying it. The Arizal is the one that uncovered it for many of us from where? From the Torah of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And for many other Chachamim that delved into the Kabbalistic world. It's not that Rav Mizrahi or any of the Chachamim that discuss it made it up. This is written clearly. Now I'm going to tell you something that I don't think anybody actually said because they haven't dared it, so I have to do it. Got to make myself a name. The Arizal writes something scary. Many times, women come and they say, listen, Rabbi, trying to have kids, can't have kids. So you check. What's wrong? So you check the house. What do you mean check the house? You don't go to the house. You ask them, are you modest? Keep Shabbat. Keep Taharat Mishpacha. Keep Kashrut. Are your kids in yeshivot? Keep the basics of Torah. Why? If they're not keeping the basics, that's what it is. That's the problem already. There's no other bigger problem than that. Woman comes to me just a few days ago, listen, I don't feel good, I have this, I have that, I have that. Okay, let's do a checking. I said, what about this, what about this, what about this? Because Rabbi, why can't it be like what the other rabbi told me? It's Ayin Hara. I said, listen, if you're not keeping Shabbat, no Ayin Hara is worse than that. You can have Amalek himself come to your house, put Ayin Hara on you, it's not going to help. Why? You're violating Shabbat. Violating Shabbat is much worse than any Ayin Hara in the world. If you're not modest, you're causing people to sin. No Ayin Hara in the world is enough. Nothing. Ayin Hara is small on you. You're causing people to sin. So first, we have to understand. Anyone that comes to you and tells you, listen, your problems are because of Ayin Hara, either he's saying it because you're a complete tzaddik or tzaddikah and you're keeping everything perfect. You're perfectly modest. You're perfectly learning Torah. You're perfectly reasonable in everything that you do in business. You're perfectly generous. You're perfect in everything else. You're just something perfect and he couldn't find anything else. It says it has to be Ayin Hara because you're so perfect. It must be Ayin Hara. But we all know you're not perfect. Let's stop kidding ourselves. Sometimes you're arrogant, sometimes you're angry, sometimes you're stingy, sometimes you're this. Every one of us has something. Every one of us has a little bit of mum. Every one of us. Stop worrying about Ayin Hara, worry about your midot. Why? Because the Gaon Mivina says, someone that came to this world and did not fix his midot, lemanu tzarta. For what were you created? What was the point of your life? So B'chaim Volozhin, his Talmid, says to him, wait a minute, Kvod Harav, if fixing my midot, fixing my character traits is so critical, how come there's not a mitzvah in the Torah that says it? We have 613 mitzvot. How come there's not one mitzvah, 614? Fix your midot. If that's the reason for creation, and if you don't fix your midot, there's no point for you doing anything else, then what's going on? The Gaon says the following. He says the whole point of all 613 mitzvot is for you to use them to fix your midot. Use the mitzvot to fix your midot. That's the point of all of them. If you're not using them to fix your midot, you're not doing them right. If you're modeh ani in the morning, first thing in the morning, modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai vekayam shechzarta bi nishmati bechemla rabba emunatecha. Thank you Hashem for bringing back my neshama because you have emunah in me. If that modeh ani doesn't start your day off with, I want to be grateful, you did it wrong. If your modeh ani is robotic, you did it wrong. No, but I said all the words, Rabbi. Yeah, you did it wrong. Why? You're supposed to start your day with modeh ani to be modeh ani, to be grateful. That's the point of modeh ani. What do you think, Hashem needs your thank you? He has millions and millions of malachim that he creates every single day. Every single moment they're created, they say, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. And they get destroyed. That's the whole purpose of their creation. They say Hashem's name, Kadosh, 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 and then they go on fire. And then new ones are created. So he's already settled with people saying thank you. What's the point of you saying thank you? Modeh ani, for you, not for him, to start off your day with gratitude. Then you go to the bathroom. Say, thank you Hashem, you have body, if I have holes, and this, and that, all the things that you have in your Hashem, what's that for? It's for Hashem, it's for you. to understand the mechanics and the amount of miracles that have to take place just for you to be able to relieve yourself. Anyone that has Crohn's, anyone that has irritable bowel syndrome, anyone that has stomach problems, anyone that's ever been constipated, which is practically everyone at some point in their life. Guess what? When you have that and you're finally able to relieve yourself, your Shayatzar has full kavanah. Full kavanah. Like you're in a Bet HaMikdash. Why? Because you finally understand the value of it. But the truth is, every time you say Asher Yatzar, it's supposed to be like that. To understand the beauty of the mechanics of your body and how it works and how you're able to relieve yourself, get all this poison out of your body, keep only the good, turns it into blood, and so on and so forth. What is that for? To learn gratitude, but also to learn Ashgacha Pratit, the divine providence of how Kadosh Baruch Hu monitors the food in your body and makes sure that only good stays in your body and bad leaves it. Right in the morning before you put on tefillin, you learn about Ashgacha Pratit, one of the 13 principles of faith. You don't believe in Ashgacha Pratit, you don't believe in divine providence, you're Kofer Gamur. Don't go to shul, can't count your minyan anyway. You haven't started a day yet and you already learned these two things. You didn't learn them? You didn't do it right. Yeah, but I said it, Rabbi. Robots say it also. My kids have a little book. And in the book, they press buttons. And the buttons, they do brachot. And one of them does Tehillim and so on. So Hashem has said, you know what? I'll replace you with one of these books. I'll put you in the store, sell you for $29.99. To say the bracha doesn't mean anything. Learned something from it. Now you did it right. Now you did something right. The Gaon Mivina says, if you use the mitzvot in order to fix your midot, you're doing it right. You don't do it right. That's why we have these mitzvot to actually fix these mitzvot to fix our midot. Now, Rabotai Karim, the Arizal tells us that a person can make many mistakes in their life. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants them to do tshuva. But sometimes, unfortunately, for that person, they run out of time. Now a woman comes and she says, listen, Rabbi, I have a problem. I cannot have kids. I haven't had a kid in a long time, or I can't have kids. So the first thing that you do, you tell her, listen, forget about Ayin Hara. You have to do tshuva. What do I have to do tshuva for? Everything. Whatever you're not doing, you got to do it. Check your modesty. Check your Yirat Shamayim. Check your generosity with tzedakah. Check your ethics, and so on and so forth. Do some house cleaning. Make sure you do full tshuva. Most of the time that works. Most of the time that works. You see miracles, in fact. A woman that does real tshuva, I've seen with my own eyes many, many women do the things that the Torah tells them to do, and miracles, literally miracles, happen in their life. Kids that were sick all of a sudden became healthy. They were sick, they became healthy, and so on and so forth. But sometimes you don't see a difference. Most of the time that's because they didn't do it. But once in a while is a unique situation. The Arizal says in his 9th chapter of Shara Gilgulim, sometimes a man will reincarnate into a body of a woman because of a sin such as homosexuality or something similar. And this woman, the reincarnation of the male soul, will not be able to conceive or become pregnant, lacking the level of Mayim Nukvim to ascend, and receives drops of Mayim Duchrin. This woman requires great merit to be able to become pregnant and give birth. There is no other way except for the soul of a woman, of another female, to go into the Sod Ibur, meaning some other righteous woman has to go up in Shamayim and ask for a merit so she can give babies. with the strength of this partner with her, she'll be able to elevate the Mayim Nukvim and conceive and give birth. However, she will not be able to give birth to sons for two reasons. The first is because the verse says in Sefer Vayikra, chapter 12, verse 2, when a woman will conceive and give birth to a male. And in this case, the woman is a male like her husband. And therefore she cannot give birth to males, only to females. Sometimes Hashem will have mercy on her, and she'll give birth, but only to girls. 3, 4, 5, 6 girls. Why, is something wrong with me? No, it's nothing wrong with you. It's just something you did, and something you don't remember. Say, be grateful that you have the girls. It's only from the Chesed Hashem that you have it. Second reason is because since this female soul that entered her did not enter her besod ibul, except to help her become pregnant and give birth. Therefore, since this woman gave birth, and this soul does not need to remain there besod ibul for no reason, at the time of birth, the one that was besod ibul will enter its, and a female, not a male, will be born. It will be an actual reincarnation and not an ibul, as in the beginning. Thus, for every woman whose soul is a male soul, as mentioned above, it's impossible to give birth to a male, only to a female. The female to which she will give birth will be the actual soul of the female soul that entered her, originally besod ibul, to help her as mentioned. So in essence, this special precious neshama that helped you in Shamayim, that's your baby. You have a tzadikah as a baby. Now, why does this happen? The Arizal says, in your previous life you messed up. What'd you do? Homosexuality. Now in this generation, now you did tshuva, you can become tzadikah gmura. And that could be the merit of why HaKadosh Baruch Hu even lets you have birth. And give birth. Because in reality, if you stay a reshait, you're not going to be able to give birth. But even that, it's a big chesed, and a lot of different things have to happen in order for this. For what? For what? What did I do? Something you did 500 years ago. So we see here, Rabotai, that the nitzotz, the spark of the neshama that's in everything, it's not just in the animals, it's not just in the fruits and vegetables, it's literally in everything. And the whole issue of souls and reincarnation is a very, very deep subject to no end. So much so that if the Arizal says that if someone that does not understand that a single soul could be divided to an infinite amount of parts, does not even understand the basics of souls, the basics of reincarnation. So we have a lot of things in the world that we don't understand. That does not mean that the Torah is lacking, but rather you are lacking. We are lacking. We haven't learned it yet. Everything is in the Torah. Everything is explained. A lot of things that are, people saying, oh, why did Hashem do this? Why did Hashem do that? There's a reason for it, and it's written in some book. Which book? There's millions of books. You go to a series, Talmid Chacham may be able to give you the source and a page number of at least 1 or 2 books that mention your question and the answer to your question. But just because you don't know the answer and the things that are happening in the world don't make sense, does not mean that there's no answer, and does not mean there's no explanation. You could see sometimes a very, very righteous woman not able to give birth. She thinks that this is a punishment. In reality, it's chesed from Hashem. Why is it chesed from Hashem? He says your suffering of not being able to give birth, that's your tikkun for the previous generation of what you did. That's your tikkun. You're going to suffer for 30, 40, 50, 60 years in this world. All your friends are having kids, and you're not having kids. You're going to suffer, right? It's going to hurt. To a woman, it's like being dead. Sarah Imenu says, I might as well die. Woman can't have kids. Like she might as well feel like she doesn't feel like a woman. Kadosh Baruch Hu says this to His mercy. Why? Because your life here is temporary anyway. If you take this suffering and utilize it like you're supposed to, you'll see that this suffering is the greatest thing that I ever gave you. Why? Because you suffered for 60, 70 years. You suffered the right way. You thanked Hashem anyway. You did whatever you could to serve Hashem the best you can. You go up to Shamayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you everything you want. And then you realize that suffering wiped out a life full of sins that you had before you could remember. So, the beauty here, Rabotai, is that we see that there is literally no end to the secrets that you can find in every part of your human body, every part of creation itself. All of it connects to Hashem, and just as the Chazon Ish says, all of it acts as a witness to their Creator because of the endless wisdom that you find in it. If you look at the flowers, you'll understand how much we need them because of all of the oxygen and how they purify the air. And you see the different bugs that are out there, even though most people don't like bugs, myself included. We need those bugs in order to clean the system. People throw out stuff in the streets. Where do you think it goes? No one picks it up. The bugs do. They eat it. And you have this whole cleaning system in the world, whether it's all types of germs and bacterias and bugs and animals and so on and so forth. And all of it, if anyone pays enough attention to the wisdom in any one of the creations, you'll see that they themselves, any one of the creations, it can even simply be the ant. Just look at the ant. Look at the mechanics of the ant. The brain of the ant, how does it know to do this, to do that, to go there, to go right? How does the brain fit in that small little thing? You just understand the genius of the ant, and you understand this is the best testimony to a creator. Needless to say, the human being that can talk, that can do stuff, that can create stuff. Now, a person doesn't really need to learn about Gehenom in order to have fear of Hashem. If a person simply understood how much he depends on Hashem performing miracles for him in order for him to simply go to the bathroom, in order for him simply to not choke on his food, in order for him simply to be able to open up his eyes and see, in order for him to simply walk outside and actually survive crossing the street. If a person simply understood how many different miracles he depends on just to walk in the street, he literally gets petrified to death and have fear of Hashem, without even thinking about Gehenom. So why do we talk about Gehenom so much and not about all these other things? Because until a person gets the shock of their life to pay attention to the small details, he won't. You tell the guy, listen, you have two eyes. You know those eyes have so much mechanics in them. He's like, yeah, science did that. What science? What are you talking about? What does that have to do with science? You have two balloons in your face that are cameras that record everything. What does that have to do with science? Would some scientists make it? What does that have to do with science? No, science. He just says science. Millions of years, science, millions of years. When is the person going to start paying attention? You tell him, listen, buddy, if you don't start paying attention, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to rip you apart to 1 trillion pieces for breakfast. And that's just your welcoming home. Oh, okay. What about those eyes you were telling me about? I like that shiur better, Rabbi. I like those eyes. What were you saying about those eyes again? You know, because I really paid attention. My eyes really are beautiful. Wow. What about those eyes, Rabbi? How come? Because you got the wake-up call. Sometimes you got to get slapped in the face to pay attention to your parents. Your imam says, don't do it. You're still doing it. Don't do it. Still doing it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Pach! Oh, imam, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What happened? How come I'm sorry now? How come you didn't do a sorry beforehand? How come? No, before you were saying it. Now you explained it. You were just saying it before. Now you explained it to me. You understand? So, why? Why? Because sometimes we impurify ourselves with the things we watch, with the places we go to, with the friends we befriend, with the food we eat. The sins that we make a klipa that makes it more difficult for our neshama, our pure neshama, to absorb the emet, to absorb the truth. It's hard for us. Baruch Hashem, in the last week, 4 people, Shtabach Shimo La'ad, sent me messages saying, I'm sorry that I went against you, everything you're saying is emet. Now, this is not for my kavod. Chas v'shalom, don't think that for a second, it doesn't make me anything. Why am I telling you this? Because, to me, and my Rav confirmed, so it's not my delusion, it shows that what we're doing is the right thing. Why? There's a pasuk in the Torah. Everything has a pasuk in the Torah. Where Kadosh Baruch Hu says that if he's happy with a person's actions, gam oivav yashlim imo. Birtzot Hashem darkei ish, gam oivav yashlim imo. That when Hashem is happy with someone, even his enemies will come and make apology and say, I'm sorry, and let's make shalom. So when you have 4 people in 1 week that do tshuva, not tshuva that they used to be mechalel Shabbat and now they're keeping Shabbat because they saw your shiur. That Baruch Hashem happens every day. But when you have somebody that made it an effort of their life to go against you, to speak against you, to go against it, all types of things that they did. Hush made it a part of their life, and now in 1 week, all of them say, oh, listen, Rabbi, your shiurim are unbelievable, it's changing my life. What does that mean? It's like Allah Baruch Hu sending you a little gift. He said, listen, I like what you're doing. That shiur about the eye, I liked it too. I liked it too about the eye. I like the eye, about the gain also, but the eye, I like it. Now, Rabotai Karim, sometimes we think that that's because we're so great. It's not. What's the truth? Truth is that those people changed something about their life themselves. They were doing something wrong that made it difficult for their neshama to absorb the emet. They changed something. They either changed food, or they changed their actions, or some type of behavior, and they eliminated a part of the klipa that was causing them to reject the emet. It may not have been the whole klipa, it could be like a little tiny little crack. They have a whole shell on them of filth and sins, and now there's a little crack because they did tshuva for something. They said I'm sorry to somebody. They gave tzedakah to somebody. They did something good, so there's a little crack on this klipa, so it's a little tiny opening. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu made, press play here. Go to BezratHashem.org, press play. They pressed play, and the emet went in. The emet went in. Start breaking other pieces, and Baruch Hashem, lat, more and more. If they continue allowing themselves to absorb the truth. Now, the fact is that when a person allows themselves to absorb the truth, only good will come out of it. When he allows himself to absorb bad, only bad will come out with it. Our misunderstanding of bad is that we miscalculate its nature, we miscalculate its effect. Rav Kotler alav Shalom said that he had a bachur that came to him one time and says, I'm going to convert to Christianity. Rav Kotler thought he was joking. Bachur in yeshiva wants to convert to Christianity. So no, I'm serious. I want to convert to Christianity. Why? I don't want to convert. You have a reason? I just want to do it. I have this desire, I want to do it. They tried talking to him, he would completely reject everybody. He didn't want to talk to anybody. Like, he didn't even want to hear an argument. It wasn't like today, people want to hedge, prove me here, prove nothing. He didn't want to hear anything. He's like, that's it, within I'm converting. There was a big tzaddik named the Rabbi Mikovnich. They went to him. He said, Rabbi, what do we do? The Rabbi Mikovnich must have been Ruach HaKodesh. He told them, ask this boy, what kind of watch does he have? He says, no, Rabbi, he has 3 watches. How do you know he has 3 watches? He says, because he's always has a problem waking up in the morning to get to shul on time, so he has 3 watches. 1 alarm, another alarm, another alarm. So ask this boy, where does he fix his watch to see, make sure that it's the right time? Because the watches, after depending on who's the manufacturer, the more cheap the watch is, the more likely it is to start becoming a little retarded with the time. It's slow or too fast or so on. So every so often you have to fix it. So where does he fix it? Based on what? So they went to the guy and said, the Rebbe Mikovnich is saying, ask him about the watch. Out of all the things in the world, you figure you ask the guy what book he's reading, who's his father, who's his mother, let's check his bleed. I don't know, something that's like, I don't know, it's obvious to us, regular people. No. His watch, I want to see his watch. Where does he fix his watch? They asked the boy, where do you fix your watch? To make sure it's on time. No, what are you talking about? Christianity again? No. We just want to ask, where do you fix the watch? Not here. What do you mean? Well, the kollel here, the yeshiva here, the clock on the wall is not right. So every week, I go to the clock that's on the church. I go to the clock on the church and I fix all 3 of my watches, all 3 of my clocks, I fix them based on that, because that one's right. They went to the Rebbe Mikovnich, they said, this is what he does. He says, exactly. That's where the tumah is coming from. He's looking at that clock and he's receiving tumah without even knowing it. Tell him we're buying a new clock for the yeshiva, that's the best clock in the world. And from now on, just to look at that clock. And if he asks you, when can I convert, tell him next week. They went, they bought the clock, big beautiful clock, they brought it in the yeshiva. Okay, we got you the best clock in town, this is what we have to invest a lot of money. Not like to have a lot of money, but to save a neshama, you're not going to buy a clock. They brought the clock into the yeshiva. Hey, this is the best clock in town. From now on, you don't have to go to the church, just fix your clock on this one. Oh, but I'm converting. Okay, convert next week. But just make sure to use this clock though first. A week passed, he didn't want to convert anymore. The desire to convert for no reason left. Why? He wasn't receiving the tum'ah from the clock. That's a sipur from Rav Kotler. Rav Yaron Kotler, Gedol Ador, previous generation. I heard it from Rabbi Chaim. We'll finalize with this. Now, every Jewish neshama, no matter what it does, will always have that spark in it that can wake it up. If we only allow that spark to flourish, we can become Gdolei Olam. I have a few kids that when I first met them, every sin they knew how to make, they made. Today, Baruch Hashem, after 2, 3, 4 years of watching our shurim, some of them have seriously become serious Talmidei Chachamim. Finishing Masechtot, reading all types of Sfarim, learning, asking serious questions. Lots changed. What changed? Behavior first, and then later on, the learning. Now, Rabbi Chaim Berlin, he was a Moel, did circumcision. Aside from being a Gadol Ador, he was also a Moel in Russia. In Russia, it's a communist country. They to be communist means you're anti-religion, you're anti-God. And over there it was forbidden to give circumcision, forbidden to teach Torah, forbidden. You're allowed to learn by yourself, but not to teach anyone else. If you did, you get death penalty. Or they send you to Siberia, which might as well be death penalty. Now, Rabbi Chaim in Berlin, every year on the Haggadah Shel Pesach, there's a section where you sing, at the end, you sing the Song of Songs, the Shir HaShirim, at the end of the Haggadah. And there are two parts where the Song of Songs gets to a verse in Song of Songs where it says, Inach Yafa Enayich Yonim, that the in chapter 1, verse number 15, and it's also in chapter 4, verse number 1. It's mentioned twice in Shir HaShirim, in Song of Songs, where it says, I forgive you, my friend, for you are lovely indeed and lovely in resolve. The righteous among you are loyal as a dove. So every time the Rabbi Rav Chaim Berlin would get to this section, that you are as loyal as a dove, he would start crying hysterical. Every year. Rest of the song he would have full kavanayin and so on, but these specific words, he would start crying like a baby. And his Talmidim over the years always tried to hint why this section every year, these few words that you're as loyal as doves, you cry about. Now, why not the other one? Why not this one? Why, why these few words? Every year it's the same thing. And it's crying. So after years of doing this, he told them, okay, I'm going to tell you now. He says, when I was in Russia, in Moscow, we were forbidden to teach Torah, forbidden to do circumcision, and because they knew I was a rabbi, they'd always look for me. The KGB, all these Reshaim, would constantly look for me to catch me teaching somebody or doing a circumcision, they kill me. So I had to be very, very careful with everything. But one day, I'm in my house, and now in Russia, and somebody knocked on the door, it's not good news. I look through the door, Hashem Yishmor V'Yatzil, sergeant, all types of things on his shoulders. This guy, scary as can be. I said, Hashem Yishmor, what can you do? Not going to answer, he knows you're home. I answer the door, he says, you Rabbi Chaim Berlin? No. Yeah, you Chaim. Yeah, okay. Here, listen. Tomorrow, you're going to come to my house. This is the address. You're going to give circumcision to my son. Circumcision? No, I don't do Brit Milah. Wait, no, I don't even know how to. What do you? No. He thinks it's a trap. That's what they do. No, circumcision. I'm just an old man. I'm just learning a little Torah by myself. I don't even know how. He goes, listen to me, Rabbi. You're coming to my house. I know who you are. You're coming to my house. I'm a Jew, and you're going to come to my house and do a circumcision for my son. And he leaves. No questions asked. Now, Rabbi Chaim in Berlin, he still doesn't know if it's a trap or not. The guy looks like Amalek. He doesn't look like a Jew. He's a general in a Russian army. What's Jewish about him? So the next day, he says, okay. He says it's the 8th day, you have to come. Now, it could be a trap. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to hide the tools for the circumcision. I'm going to hide them in my carriage. So that way, as soon as I come out, I'm going to check if it's a trap. Tell me who you are. I said, nothing, I'm just here visiting, I'm looking for some friends. So why are you at the general's house? No, mistake. I was looking for somebody else, and he already wrote himself a note of a different address. Just in case they ask him questions, he's going to give, no, I'm looking for this address. I thought this is it. That's somebody else, different street, and so on. He's already prepared. So he gets to the place, knocks on the door, and some woman answers. Some maid answers. Huh? You're Rabbi Chaim? No, why? Okay, the boy isn't here. You do the circumcision. No, sir, me no circumcision. No, come on, Rabbi, come on, let's go. He doesn't know, it could be still a trap. Okay, no, yalla, let's go inside. He goes inside, sees a fancy house, pictures of the general, pictures, this, that, wow, could be his last pictures he ever sees. But then as he sees in the end of the room is a cute little baby. He says, Rabbi, I'm Jewish too. She looks like Amalek also. She doesn't look Jewish. No one's allowed to look Jewish. So listen, Rabbi, the general hired me because I'm a Jew also, and I told him he could trust me, that if the Russians walk in on us, we're going to say I did it. So they sent me to Siberia, not you. So you have to do the circumcision. He said, okay, I have to get a sandak. A sandak to hold the baby. You're not allowed to have a woman as a sandak. Where are you going to find a sandak in Russia? Okay, I'm going to go look in the street. And you're going to go ask people if they're Jewish. It's the worst question you could possibly ask them. He says, I have to. I go outside. He goes outside. He goes outside and looks for people. Can't tell. He sees some beggar walking. He goes up to him, he goes, you're Jewish? And that was like almost like a threatening question back then. But as you would have it, b'siyad dishmaya, the beggar says, yeah, I'm Jewish. He goes, okay, you want to be a sandak? No, I don't want to be a sandak. No, but it's a big mitzvah. He goes, big mitzvah, small mitzvah, I gotta get some money. Listen, how much money do you make per day? What is his money? I gotta go, Rabbi, I gotta go, no sandak, no nothing. No, how much money do you get what do you get for an hour? He goes, listen, throughout the day, I collect the whole day to get 1 ruble. He goes, how about this? You come be a sandak, I'll give you a ruble. It's going to take you 20 minutes. Huh? Why don't you tell me he's Jewish? Okay, come on, let's go. All of a sudden he wants to be a sandak. Now, Rabbi Chaim Berlin also brought a doctor with him. But this doctor said, I'm going to hide inside the carriage until you have everything ready so I can stay around after you leave to make sure the baby's okay. Because you can't have the rabbi stay there because the doctor also looks like a Russian. He doesn't look Jewish, but he's willing to be there because the rabbi can't stay. So they do the circumcision really quickly, and as the rabbi gets to the blessing and it gets to the name, and the name of the baby will be, and he's asking the maid. She says, I don't know, Rabbi, they didn't tell me the name. So Rabbi Chaim Berlin says, Avraham. You gave him a name. He's going to be Avraham. Avraham Avinu, Brit Milah. They do the Brit Milah, Ishtabach Shimo, and the rabbi leaves. So, next day he gets in touch with the doctor that's overseeing the whole thing to make sure the baby's okay. And he says, yeah, the baby's okay. He said, listen, please tell the Baal Habayit, the general, to get in touch with me. I'm interested to find out what's going on here. Obviously, it's not a trap. Everything went okay. But I want to know why this Amalek-looking Jew wants to have a Brit Milah for his kid and put everybody's life at risk, including his own. If the head communist over there finds out that one of his generals is a Jew and had a Brit Milah for his kid, he's going to kill him and the kid. So why is he putting everybody's life at risk? For what? He's not keeping Shabbat, he's not keeping Kashrut, he's not keeping anything. A couple of days later, the general shows up at Rabbi Chaim Berlin's house. He sees him, big guy. It's my friend. But now he doesn't have all the uniform on. Looks like a regular guy. Yeah, you were looking for me. I heard you need some money for the Brit Milah. Here, I brought you 10 rubles. Rabbi Chaim Berlin says, no, chas v'shalom, I don't want any money. So what do you want? I want to know why. You're not exactly, what's Jewish about you exactly? You're not keeping Shabbat. You're not keeping Kashrut. You're not keeping family. What are you keeping? You go with them to all of their communist things. You're inside their army. You're inside everything. You're the hero over there. What's to you in Judaism? Why would you put your own life at risk and your kid's life at risk for Brit Milah? Like, why? And the general tells him this. He says, Rabbi, listen, I don't know how long this communism thing is going to last. But I do know that Judaism and the Torah, that's going to last. Because it lasted and it survived all of its enemies for a millennia. No matter who came after them, no matter why they came after them. The only survivor to all of the enemies of the world has been the Torah and the Jewish people. So surely I know that whether communism is here or not, Judaism is going to be here. And if communism is not here, and my boy grows up one day and he wants to go back to his roots, I surely do not want the circumcision to stand in its way. I want him to have an easy entry back to his roots. At that moment, Rabbi Chaim Berlin started crying. He says, it says in the Gemara, one of the fantastic things that I learned in my life, Gemara Baba Batra, page 23b, says that if you walk under a tree and you see that there is efruchim, there's little birds, but they're newborns, how do you know where they belong to? If you see there's a nest in the tree, if it's within 50 amot, which is about 100 feet away from the tree, then those little birds, those little chicklets, belong to that nest. But if it's further than 100 feet, then it belongs somewhere else. Then they're not from that. They're not connected to that nest. He says, Am Yisrael is just like those birds, where no matter how far they go and what they do, they constantly look back at the nest. Did I go? Did I cross the line? Oh no, I'm still here. Did I cross the line? No, I'm still here. I'm far, but I'm not past the line. You could still tell that I'm connected to the source. I'm not keeping, I'm not doing, but you could still tell that I'm connected to the source. Your eyes are beautiful. What is it? Your eyes are beautiful. You are the doves. The doves, the loyal doves. Your eyes are beautiful, the loyal doves. Your Am Yisrael, your eyes are beautiful because no matter what, no matter where you go, there's still that little spark that keeps you in. There's still that little spark. He says, okay, he doesn't keep Shabbat, he doesn't keep kosher, but you know what? He goes to shul once a year. On Yom Kippur. But he goes. He doesn't keep this, he doesn't keep that, but you know what? He keeps kosher for no reason, but he does it. He doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, but if you tell him, listen, take advantage of people in your business, he says, no. Why? I'm a Jew, I can't be that. But you don't keep anything Jewish. No, listen. We're Jewish people, we're honest people. I don't do it. Meaning there's always something that's connecting him. He hasn't lost himself. And Rabbi Chaim Berlin says, look at that. This Jew that was mamash on Amalek's army still wanted to keep that connection alive. He didn't want to cross that line and look like he belongs to a different nest, to a different breed. And that's why I cry. Rabotai, if a person looks into themselves and they look at their blood and they look at their eyes and look at their nose and look at their food and look at their life and look at them, all of those different things, you'll see that your entire life and everything that has to do with it, everything that's around it, always connected you in one way or another back to the source. Even if you didn't know why and you didn't even do it intentionally, somehow it's always connected. Something that happened to you 5 years ago, before you even knew whether there's a God or not, today you realize that had to happen in order to connect you to the point that you are in today. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want you to go too far from the nest. He's not going to bring you himself, but he'll do everything possible to keep you connected. What gets you disconnected? When you intentionally do things that are against him. When you know it's against him and you do it anyway. When you know you're not allowed to drive on Shabbat, you still drive on Shabbat. That's Isur Karet. And Isur Karet, Rabotai Karim, is when a person literally cuts themselves, cuts their neshama from the source. But you see the people still walking. What is that like? That's like sometimes you turn off the switch of some type of electronic equipment, but the LED light doesn't go off right away. It stays on for an extra few seconds. That's a neshama that made sins of karet. It's still on, but in reality it's off. So how come it's on? There's still a little bit of remaining spark in there. Still a little bit of a remaining spark in there before it all goes out. Let's not force Hashem to let the rest of it come out. Let's not go too far away from the nest. Let's recognize the Creator and His creation through all the things that we see on a day-to-day basis. You wake up in the morning, remember to be grateful. You wake up in the morning, you go to the bathroom, remember how wonderful it is that your body works. You have food to eat, don't complain about the food tasting or not tasting a certain way. Be happy you have food to begin with. You have a job, be happy about the job even if you don't like the job. There's plenty of people, I promise you, are begging for jobs right now. You don't have a job, but you still have food to eat. That's a miracle of its own. Hashem gave you the wisdom or the know-how or some type of miracle that you have money, bichlal. There are so many things we have to be grateful for. That's the beginning of every Jew's life. If you're grateful, you'll be able to connect to Hashem. If you're ungrateful, chas v'shalom, you'll get yourself, just by that bad character trait, too far away from the nest, and you can lose everything because of it. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu put so many details into every one of the creation. Because if you delve into it, you look into it, it becomes much easier to become grateful for it. Because there's just simply so many miracles that have to happen just for you to exist. Needless to say, all of the miracles that you want Hashem to do for you are much smaller than the ones that you need in order for you to exist. What do you need, a car? What? Is a car a bigger miracle than you breathing? You need a job. What? Is you breathing? Is you breathing a smaller miracle than Him giving you a job? A zivug. What? Is you finding Hashem picking somebody out of 8 billion people that's the right person for you, and out of that, the Jewish people, right, just one. Is that a bigger miracle than you having these 2 balloons you call eyes and they record everything? All of the things you want are smaller miracles than the things you take for granted. Why do we take them for granted? Because we don't notice them at all. If we start noticing them and being grateful for them, it becomes much, much easier for us to become a better version of ourselves that's much closer to the nest, and Bezrat Hashem inside the nest, and bringing others with us. Bezrat Hashem will have our next year on Tuesday night in Aventura. Until then, Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'amen.